Hello everyone, this is LW Gaming and welcome to a brand new installment of Future Langrisser, and today is the August 11th, 2025 edition. By time recording, today is the 7th. Yep, few days in advance because I don't know why this leak kind of took me a while to get this compiled, but I got everything I need. So yeah, thanks to the community efforts, of course. This time around, let's talk about the new hero coming to the game, and this is the 7th anniversary update, by the way. In case you guys are curious, a new hero, and this is a limited time hero. Like most of the single hero banners nowadays are limited time. This character is someone you probably should not sleep on because when it comes to limited time heroes like this one, she is someone that you can probably try to add to your team because she is insane for PvP. Not in the level of Dragon Slayer, by the way, or even Ferrokia, or I should say Gay Succubus, the one we got just today. So anyways, let's get right into why I believe she's going to be dangerous in PvP. So let's see. So anyways, this character, this new hero that we got in this update is, let's just say, yeah, as you can see, her name is Humbaba. Kind of a funny name if you think about it, but anyways, she is, in fact, a new faction buffer. Yep, you heard that right. A new faction buffer for Origins of Light. Wait, hold on. I just misspelled the word Origins. Okay, whoops. I'll be right back. Gonna fix that. Okay, I'm back, and it is fixed now. So, yep, Origins of Light. This is the faction buff that she is gonna be doing for the faction, and she's the 4th one. So that means that completes the 4, like the squad of the buffers. So we got D-Heart, Freya, Juggler, and now Humbaba as the 4th faction buffer. I don't know, every time I say her name, it just sounds a bit funny in some ways. Anyways, not only she's part of the Origins of Light, she's also part of a mythical realm, as well as US Legends. I mean, I don't know why Zealand have the obsession of bringing overpowered units to ULS, but I guess you do you. But there's a fair chance that Ilya was once powerful, but not part of ULS. But if you pair her with Enya, that is a different story because she can take advantage of ULS. Because the clone enables her to be ULS Legends unit, which is kind of hilarious. As for classes that Humbaba is part of is, of course, obviously Mage and Demon. These are the 2 common classes for most magical heroes. And also, her role is pretty interesting because she is a magical unit, but she actually does like a multi-hit kind of thing in there on her 3C. So what's her gimmick like? Well, let's just say she's in the mix of Serena and Sagani mixed together. Yeah, and you can imagine she's going to be terrifying. Because Humbaba can actually prevent herself or whatever conditions met, like for the enemies to unable to target her. But, however, unlike Serena, Humbaba can still get hit by AoE. So yeah, she's not as terrifying as Serena, so don't worry. Even though she is protected by butterflies, that doesn't mean she cannot get hit by AoEs. So that's out the window. And then for the Sagani part, it's because her butterfly is also treated as her skill range, depending on the situation, of course, or conditions. So that she can attack enemies from far away, even her 3C. So her 3C can target either probably on her own or within the butterfly range. And these ones, I gotta say, if the enemies are in position of like multiple butterflies, good luck surviving those because these will cause a lot of damage because you're not safe from multi hits because you're gonna get hit a lot of times if you're positioned in multiple butterflies. Like I think you can create up to 3 butterflies at once, but yeah, you can imagine how terrifying this can be because this can kill an entire army if they are positioned poorly, that is. So if you're fighting against Humbaba, make sure you split them up. Otherwise, you're going to have a hard time. So do I think Tank Push may be dead on this one? I don't know because I know Tank Push really hates this kind of meta nowadays. But, Varelia kind of enabled that, but now Humbaba coming along like that. Oh my goodness, that is going to be insanely terrifying. Like, basically, Rush players are going to have a lot of fun with this unit, I gotta say. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the new soldiers and SP soldiers. So typically, I usually just cover SP soldiers for each update, but since this update is anniversary, they brought two new soldiers. There's a new mage called Forbidden Forest Psychic. It may not be called like that in global, and the other one is a new archer soldier, which is the Emerald Winged Shooter. And let me explain what these two soldiers are. So, and I had their info, so you won't be able to see the description here, but I'm gonna explain it. So the Forbidden Forest Psychic is a mage. Basically, their normal attacks is treated as magic, which is typical magic soldiers. What they do, their attack is increased by 30%. Before initiating combat, there's a 100% chance to inflict the target enemy with damage taken plus 10% for one turn. After combat, the target is inflicted with active skill silence and heal block for one turn. And this soldier as itself sounds pretty broken if you think about it, but the thing is the debuffs that like active skill silence and heal block doesn't say cannot be resisted, so if you have something that can resist that, that is probably not useful. But if they're for some reason got affected by that, then that could be huge for you because you're going to guarantee to have active skill silence across the board. As for the Emerald Winged Shooters, and by the way, the stats I'm saying here are all max level, so you may not be getting the same result as I said here. So, anyways, for the Emerald Winged Shooter, attack is increased by 30%. When initiating combat, if there are no allies within one block of itself, gain soldier attack 15% increase, and the attack will ignore enemy's shield HP. If the enemy has no shield HP, damage dealt is increased by 15%. So yeah, apparently this soldier could be pretty effective in some scenarios, but yeah, especially like those annoying shields, like for some units that has it, like especially tiaras applying it to them. Yeah, pretty annoying, but with this soldier, you can actually completely bypass the shield, which is absolutely amazing and also insane for if you're fighting against them, that is. And then as for SP soldiers, so we got three new SP soldiers this time. So we got Elf Master. Let me go back to that. Elf Master, Ocean Priest, and Trident Guard. So Elf Master doesn't unlock additional heroes, but it adds a new effect on top of the existing effect. So like this soldier still has the when positioned in forest or mountain, attacking and defense increased by 30%. However, with the SP form, they have an additional effect. When initiating combat on defensive terrain, soldier damage dealt is increased by 5% for each block between this unit and the enemy, and this can be increased up to 15% maximum. So yeah, that is pretty good for Elf Master users. And the next SP soldier we got is the Ocean Priest. So I think the Ocean Priest still retains the original, but with the additional effect. I'm going to read the full description anyway. So attack is considered as magic. Soldier attack and magic defense increased by 20%. These effects are doubled when positioned in water, and unit is not affected by melee damage penalty, which is huge. When actively attacking, if either this unit or the enemy is in water, this unit soldiers recover 30% HP before combat, which makes them sustainable for many situations. So this soldier, SP soldier is pretty amazing for an upgrade. And unlike most of the SPs, this one only unlocks four additional heroes instead of the usual 6 that we had back in the day. So the 4 heroes getting this SP soldier edition are Nonoran, Captain Mac, Lemia, and Varash. And finally, we got Trident Guard. The SP effect on this one retains the same as the original, but there's now additional effects on here. Receive healing effect increase of 30%. Additionally, 35% of the healing received are applied as shield HP, up to 40% of soldiers' max HP. When soldier HP is above 80%, attack, defense, and MDEF are increased by 45%. That is a huge chunk increase on the stats there. So yeah, a Trident Guard is actually a, let's just say, pretty decent back in the day, but now they're making it even better for the current meta. So there are going to be 6 heroes that will be able to use this soldier when you unlock the SP completely, of course. So the heroes are Sapphirine, Christiane, Yulia, Tiana, Vargas. I'm not talking about Dragon Slayer, by the way. The regular SR Vargas, and last but not least, Shinpachi Shimura. I've heard a lot of people didn't like this dude in Waifu Wars, especially, but hey, he's getting this character. He's getting this soldier as well. So I don't know. This will be interesting though, because I know Waifu Wars is still relevant for the community, but seeing Shinpachi with these new SP soldiers could actually shake up the meta a bit. But I don't know how much though, because a lot of people kind of despise him because of how tricky he is, and also he can cancel combats as well, as far as I've heard. Yeah, not fun if you're on the receiving end. Okay, next up, let's talk about some new casting skills. So this time we got two new casting skills as usual nowadays. The first one we got is Lightbringer. Yep, finally we're getting Lightbringer casting in this update. So what hers does is that when actively using the Devotee's Glow, which is her 3C skill by the way, this skill is now considered a faction buff instead of the just the passive stat increase, something like that. So yeah, affected allies gain the following, which is the damage dealt increased by 15% during combat, and this cannot be stacked with other fusion powers. So yeah, Lightbringer finally becomes its own faction buff. Well, previously she kinda is, but not really, but now it is a full-on faction buff. And not just that, Devotee's Glow also affects infantry allies, not just holy allies. So basically, no matter what class she is, like infantry or holy, she's still gonna get affected by this, which is awesome, as well as other heroes that are infantry. And then the second hero that got this upgrade for the casting patterns is Sagani, one of the most annoying unit in the past when he debuted back in the day of alongside with Amadeus. And I gotta say, Sagani, he's been falling off ever since his release. Like, he was pretty good back then, but then eventually other units did better than him, where like Patricia kind of took over the meta. Yeah, Sagani is kind of coming back with this casting. Well, I'm going to talk about it soon, because his casting increases his imp by 5%. Enemies within 2 blocks around the Snow Owl will receive mobility -1, and on top of that, they cannot guard. And if they are killed, reduce all Sagani's skill cooldowns by 1 turn. So yeah, this alone makes him somewhat meta viable again. Like, especially the owl itself, now you have to avoid getting close to that thing, because if your team is too close to the owl, oh my, say goodbye to your team, because your team are not able to guard if you're a tank pusher. But it doesn't really matter much if you're fighting against a rush player, because they don't have a tank typically. But if they for some reason have a tank, then yeah, they're not gonna have a good time against Sagani. So do I think both of these castings will make a big difference for PvP or Apex in general? Could be, possibly, but we'll have to see how they will perform, because I know Sagani really needed this buff for when it comes to castings. So is Lightbringer, because Lightbringer has been falling off ever since Landius getting his SP. So this may actually open up more options for Apex, which I am quite happy about, because competition is everything for Langrisser. Basically, you can mix and match with a lot of things out in the game. Okay, next up, let's talk about the new exclusive equipment. So this time, we got a new headwear for Virelia. So I know some of you may be thinking, wait, Virelia? Isn't she still OP to this day? The answer is, you're right. She is still OP, but kind of funny that they brought her a headwear anyways, because, the release order is kind of a mandatory thing for Zilong, I guess. But anyways, Virelia is getting a new headwear in this update, which will increase her HP by 10%. Virelia's skill costs are disregarded when equipping skills, which is useful, because now Virelia can equip a lot of AoEs on her arsenal at will without worrying about like skill cost restrictions. So you can have something like all 3 of her skills AoE oriented, which makes her a complete AoE nuker for herself. Of course, she kind of does have to give up on the fatal, like the revive against physical damage, something like that. Anyways, when using spell preparation outside of danger zone, all of her trigger cooldowns are reduced by 1 turn, which is huge. for her, because now she is going to be able to get back her revive sooner than usual, and also her talent cooldown, like with the preparation, it's going to get lessened as well. But I might be wrong here, but anyways, we'll have to see how Varela performs with this exclusive, because I don't think this will actually cause a lot of impact, but the HP increase could be a big deal alone. And finally, before we close out this episode, there's something I would like to talk about when it comes to additional info here. So let's talk about the banners and events we'll be expecting here. So in this right here, there's going to be an internal Forge event, because there are 4 new gears you can go for, as well as some nice 7th anniversary events, which will include a gift bag for heroes that you may want to obtain from the previous batch. I think this will include all the heroes that are released so far, excluding the limited time ones. And speaking of banners, let's talk about the banners here. So radar banners for Varelia and Shem will be expected here, alongside with Nomi and Lightbringer. They both have their upgrades, so which makes sense for Varelia and Lightbringer to be there as raid ups though. Meteor Strike Destiny banner for Hoffman, Gunn, and Andriole. Pretty nice there. Strategic Master Destiny banner for Lemia, Sagani, and Rendell. Sagani Beyond Destiny is going to be a nice deal to have, because since he is getting his casting in this update, makes sense to have him here. Classic Destiny banner for Landius, Yulia, and Juggler, or known as the Heroes of Destiny, I would say. And then there's also Divine Ozone Summon for all non-limited heroes, released up to the point of Makira and Shem. And also Equipment Ozone banner will be available on there as well. So yeah, that's it for this video. So hope y'all find this video helpful or informative, and see you all next time.